Hello. You got
Yes.
three of us today?
Yeah.
We're almost back to full strength. Might appear that way, but no. Plutarch is fighting a bug. So
Yep.
he's only operating on about, 75% capacity?
Yeah, that's probably about it for today. I might be a little on the quiet side.
So we have to make it real
Okay.
interesting so he talks.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, we'll just have to try and get him excited.
Yep. But we're dry,
So-
aren't we?
Well, yeah. But we're easily amused by ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah,
our
drink the
topic
water.
for tonight is the mask she wears. So I'm gonna go through. I'm the leader tonight, and this is my stream. So these are my observations of women and how they operate. And okay, I'll start out here. This is the intro. Okay, so finding a suitable mate is difficult. And if a man makes a mistake, or a mistake that a man makes is fraught with risk. A woman wanting a husband will try to present herself in a positive way in order to be perceived as a worthy wife. So make sure you listen to the conclusion of this podcast to hear our solutions. So, my theory or proposition is women wear a mask.
Yeah, everybody.
You meet a
knows
woman,
that, though.
she's wearing a mask and she's trying to present herself in a positive light, and she's trying to present, she knows men value purity. So she's going to present herself as a pure woman or newly pure. Okay, so
Newly pure.
So Nick said men wear a mask too. Yes, they do.
Especially for
And
the first 6 months, right?
yeah, even after that.
Mm.
You know, we talked about effeminate men last week, right?
Right.
Nick did that. And then we went into the nice guy.
Oh,
Okay, the nice guy. Yeah,
it's kind of icky.
but that's the mask that men wear. Oh, remember
Yeah.
how he kind of said the nice guy can actually be a sneaky fucker? Oh, damn, not 8 minutes yet.
Uh-oh. We don't care.
And there it goes.
Oh man, it just slips out when you have these terms.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not trying to curse, and then but that
That's
oh,
the
well.
term. That's the term. It's literally the term. So,
Yeah, I mean, he's being
Yeah.
deceptive. And he's trying to present himself as oh so nice and nicer and more moral than he is, and covert contracts and all that. Okay, so
yeah.
yes, men.
Why would you do that? That's like crap. That's a stupid mask to put on.
Nick, Nick,
What?
look at Destiny and Melina. If you want to get a hot girl and you're not that guy, sneaky, too late, we'll say it. Sneaky fucker game works great if you're not that guy. And Rolo said this. Like he's talked to Destiny behind the scenes and he called him a sneaky fucker long before anybody knew, while he was still with Melina in their open relationship thing. So as a game, it can work. Now, I think it doesn't work long term, but
No, the nice guy will probably develop anger, and he'll keep it repressed. Eventually, it might come out, not necessarily in a violent way, but passive aggressive or escape, spending more time at the office to avoid the wife, drinking, drugs, hobbies, various ways to escape. But okay, we're not really talking we're not going to talk about the mask men wear. If you want us to do a specific one on that, we can do a future stream. Let us know. But tonight, we're just talking about the mask she wears.
Oh,
So,
so are you talking about the makeup that they put on, Steve?
no, I'm not. I mean, that can be an aspect of that.
I couldn't help myself.
So, what is a woman's primary motive?
She wants to be loved,
Oh,
maybe.
Loved or adored?
Mm. Is it just
what?
loved, or is she trying to capitalize on diminishing fertility?
Mm, she's not consciously thinking about that. That's a
Oh, okay.
biological issue. She wants a child. She wants a baby.
We'll get into that.
Yeah. So, okay. So, if a woman has a colored past, maybe
Okay.
she wasn't so pure, but she wants to be loved. What do you think she's going to do?
Put on the mask.
Oh, yeah. And remember, I'm sure you've heard this before, that women are actually insecure about a lot of things. They kind of go through their life being insecure. Some men do too, but it's just kind of part of the nature of a woman that she needs assurance because she is kind of insecure. We hear all kinds of stories, especially about these older women who are divorced, single mothers, and whatnot. Do you think this my comment that women are kind of by nature insecure, does that reveal itself, or is the uh, antidepressant use in what old women over the age of 45? Does that kind of indicate that there might be some insecurity issues there?
Oh, and there's a shame, there's problems and the shame they haven't dealt with, so they can't get over it because they never deal with their shame. That was a past one you did.
Yeah, well, we'll touch on that too. Well, what are okay, a young woman. Okay, I wrote down two of her major her first major insecurity when she's 16 to 22 or even 25 is she's not beautiful enough. Just think about how much time young women spend in front of the mirror.
Right.
Think of the number of selfies they take, and the
Well, all at the
angles
gym,
and
man,
the
I tell you.
lighting
Oh,
and the what a what do you call that? Photo editing,
The
the
filters?
yeah, Photoshop and
filters.
filters. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's you know, men find a young woman very, very attractive. But even in spite of that, in all society saying, yeah, young women are beautiful, even the most beautiful woman is insecure about her beauty at a young age. And to a large extent, that continues through life.
Well,
We
that
see it in
reminds
older
me.
women who say, oh, I'm still as hot as I was when I was 22. No.
Oh, that
What were you going to
reminds
say,
me
Nick?
that there was an app when I was in college. A lot of the girls got on it, uh, where you could rate them, right? They could rate each other and all that stuff. It was like Hot or Not or something when it was on Facebook
Yeah.
or I don't know, MySpace.
I
Yeah,
remember Hot or Not.
yeah.
Well, but so I was thinking about this, and you know, I was recently in a place where there were masses of humanity. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. Just traveled there for work, and I had to walk around, and I got to see all these people. And there's lots of young women walking around. Okay, I the way they dress though, it's like Steve. I do wonder how much they actually concern themselves with how beautiful they are. Because the way some of these girls dress, it's like it's designed to make them look ugly.
Well, there
Are you
is
talking
that
about you
aspect.
talking about like the college where they roll out of bed in their like pajamas and with like no makeup on and put a baseball
It's
cap on and
yeah, the super baggy clothes,
yeah.
ripped jeans, uh, showing off, your midriff and all of that. It's
And
like,
tattoos
oh,
and
endless oceans of them.
and, and nose rings.
Yep,
I don't
lots of
get the
that
nose
too.
Gee,
rings. I don't get the nose rings at all. Like, I don't-
what man has ever said, oh man, that nose ring looks so good on you?
Oh, I'm sure there's a few who like it, but they're not going to be the girls, or they're not going to be the guys these girls want to stay with long term. You might want to fuck them, but
I don't know. Nose rings and long fingernails are such a turn off
for
to
most men,
me
I agree.
that, no, no. So her beauty, well, I used to once in a while go downtown Minneapolis. This was probably early 2000s. And in the winter, you would see these young women lined up to go into the nightclubs. And it is 0 degrees. And they're out there in a short, clingy dress. You know, the silky dress that leaves nothing to the imagination?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you can imagine that they don't have any, there's no panty lines. It's just, they're probably not wearing any or much of anything underneath it. And, they're all done up and, oh, yeah, they do have hot bodies, but yeah, they
It's
are
freaking
they're
0 degrees
competing.
outside.
It was that
Oh.
important to them. And the wind is blowing and there's snow on the ground and maybe swirling around a little bit. And that's how they're dressed. They'll line up to get into the club. I think Nick's internet is resetting.
Yeah, we lost Nick. Well, I think this might be situational dependent because I wasn't wandering around late at night, but
Yep, back on time. There you go.
oh, there we go. Uh, I wonder if clothing has become more of a signaling device than it used to be. It's like if I'm going to the club, I'm going to be seen and I want to be seen as hot. But if I'm just out on the town, I'll dress ugly so that people don't look at me.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a mask there too.
Oh yeah.
The mask because they want to appear to be hip or whatever the young people's word for that is with, at compliant with the culture. Let's put it that way.
Hmm.
Edgy. What? I don't even know the young people's slang for them. In the 60s, it'd be called they want to be groovy.
Cool. I don't know. I don't think that's the right word anymore. So
Nah, cool's more
I'm
millennial.
out of touch. I'm out of touch.
So, okay. So, women are insecure about beauty and their body and, the size of their breast, the shape of their body, their weight, uh, all that. Okay. What else? Okay. As she gets older in the mate selection process, if she's actually now looking for marriage or a long term mate or a man to have a baby with, now he might become a little bit concerned with her history, specifically her
Mm,
sexual history.
yeah.
I mean, we kind of talk about this in the red pill to, how to vet a woman because her history matters.
And you will
Okay,
never
so
get an accurate body count. And you shouldn't I don't know if you should even ask for a body count. But you'll
well,
get the
we
sense after a while usually.
we will get into this in the stream. How
Oh,
how to deal with that. Uh, I have some suggestions. So anyway, so what? Okay, in general, what is a woman's strategy? Well, she's going to present herself as the person in the in the present, in the now. She's going to present herself as a person to get what she wants. Um, and
yeah.
that means, okay, she could present herself as the carefree, sexually open, ready for a hookup woman in her young years, because that's what she wants. Or she's going to present herself differently as she gets older and maybe
Yeah.
close to marriage. So, most women will decide to hide aspects of herself in order to present herself in the best possible light for whatever her objective is. But as she gets older, now, okay, remember when she was young, she was not settling down. She really wasn't focused on love. But now, okay, I've had my fun. Now I want to find love and be loved. So she will present herself in the best possible light in order to that so she believes she will be loved. The problem is that she represses aspects of herself, of her true self, and presents a false self, the mask. Often the false self will be loved, but the
Mm.
love is not genuine because she believes that she would not be loved if the man knew her real self. In
Hmm.
other words, even though she receives love, she still believes that her true self is unlovable. This is more insecurity, and it haunts her thoughts.
Okay, I got a comparison for you.
Okay.
So you have a gal, right? She spends 2 hours, you know, before makeup, she's a four, right? You've probably seen these on videos of this. Before makeup, man, she's maybe a five. Let's say she's normal, but maybe a 4 or 5. But after makeup, 7 or 8. She think she gets to know a guy. The guy likes her, thinks she's this hot girl, but he only sees her with her makeup on. Do you think she has a fear how he'll react when she takes the makeup off?
Absolutely.
No.
She's insecure. The
Yes.
man she wants, she can compete with the 7s and 8s, even though she's a 5. She can get a better man. But then she's afraid that he will see her real self. So she has to maintain the mask. And okay, we're going to talk about this. The mask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we already talked. Yeah, men wear masks, women wear masks. That mask is an obstacle. Actually, it's more than that. If you're wearing the mask, it's a guarantee that you're not loved for who you are. Now, okay, I'm twice divorced. Did I love the first wife? Yes, but maybe not. Maybe, well, I'll tell you this for certain. I only knew the mask, and I saw that in the best possible light and in the potential. So yes, I loved, but I was loving a false person. My second marriage, my love was deeper. That was pretty damn good marriage. We didn't fight. Sex was great. I really had no complaints. She was a good cook. It was all good. Of course, a lot of men will say that. And then you get blindsided.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell happened? Well, we're going to get into that. Okay. All I'm judging things on my observations, what I've read, what I've experienced, and what I've seen go on with others. So, did I love my second wife? Same answer. I loved the mask that she was wearing. And I thought the mask was the real woman. But obviously, given how it turned out, and then some of the behaviors I saw then, no, underneath, there were some issues. She was a different person underneath her mask. So I think that's kind of what Nick was getting at. And I bet Nick would probably say the same thing about his marriage.
You telling me? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
a lot of things that I did not see were hidden, obfuscated. Yeah, you find out later. You're like, oh shit.
So, okay, this is an important point for guys going through the divorce. You want them, well, if you're blindsided and you don't want the marriage to end, you are still thinking about that fantasy marriage with the wife who was wearing a mask. That's what you love. Yes, you were doing as God commanded to love your wife, who you believed your wife was. But actually, you never loved the real woman because you didn't know the real woman. So keep that in mind. The real woman is not the woman that you loved. And once you realize that, it's a little bit easier to move on. So now let's talk about the reality of the mask, how it develops. So this is talked about in the manosphere or in the red pill quite a bit. Behavior of women in their 20s. So I have some notes here. We're all following them. But Nick, why don't you talk about the behavior of women in their 20s?
Yeah, okay.
Typical,
Well,
not all women, but stereotypical behavior.
yeah. Hey, I'm free from mom and dad. Hey, I have all this attention. Wow. Ooh, I can just oh, he's nice. Oh, I wonder what it would be like to be with him tonight. I got this other cute guy in my DMs, or oh, I met him at the bar. Ooh, another one goes home. Another one. Another one. Hook up with studs that inflate her perception of value. While she's probably at her highest sexual market value, her beauty.
So is she looking for the good man to marry?
Hell no. I mean, there's the NAWALs, yeah, sure. But in general, especially today, no. No.
So
They have
she's
their whole
looking
life.
for
They're looking
the
for the
best.
career. Their career money. They need to go enjoy their youth, travel the world, get on the cock carousel, and then after all that, they'll settle down with a good man.
So this other thing in Rollo's talked about this 80, 20, 4.5. 80% of men she doesn't even see. He doesn't even know they exist. Those are the cashiers, the dumpy guys, the fat guys, the low life, the plumbers, even though they make a lot of money. Nope, that's not her
No,
status. So all
no,
these guys, all these service guys that make the world go, she doesn't even see them.
nope.
And she might be in college, in her college years, her fun years. Okay. Then there's that 20% of guys who would probably make a good husband. Those are the diligent men in college, smart. They are serious about their education. And you know what? Accountants, engineers. Might even be some of them in seminary because they're focused on a purpose. And you know what? What's the word? Oh, yeah, boring.
Yeah.
So
And
Steve,
then, yeah,
I have a video, and I've talked about this video before, and I finally found it, but it specifically deals with the effect of college on women. So it's very, very quick. I'll just throw it up here, and you guys
okay,
can.
yeah, let's watch it.
So it's already playing. My body count before studying the U.S. She's from Germany. Good looking gal. 6 and 0 was what it was before. Okay. 6 guys, 0 girls.
Okay.
Okay.
After 3 years of college in the U.S., 68.5 guys and 10 girls. In 3 years, she racked up damn near 80 bodies.
Yeah, well, she's an outlier, right?
She might be higher than
I mean,
normal, but
she's better looking than most women out there if you take a look at, but as an outlier,
Okay, maybe her numbers are on the high side. Not
maybe.
unrealistic. Let's say the average woman, a 5, a 6, even a 4. 20 men and 5 women. Yeah, I mean, is that believable? Oh, in my mind, yeah. You know what?
Yep.
Because that's what was happening in the 80s when I went to college. Yeah, women, okay, maybe 20 was kind of on the high side then. I'd say I didn't know what was going on. I was a naive guy. But I would
weren't
guess
we all?
most women, over 4 years, it'd be rare to find a woman under 2 digits, under 10 bodies in the 4 college years. Of course, you know what? He wasn't necessarily innocent in high school either. So, yeah, 10 on the low side in the 80s, maybe 20 to 30 on the high side. Now, I think we're talking 25 on the low side and probably 100 on the high side. Okay, no one can prove me wrong, but that's
If
my
I had Elena
belief.
soundbite, you know what she'd be saying right now?
Shame those
Yeah.
whores.
Yeah, shame these whores.
So, okay, there's one other aspect that she is accumulating, which might actually be worse than a body count. But it's a derivative of the body count. My ex-wife told me this one. This is her term. Second wife. And she didn't have an extremely high body count, but he talked about this because she was a way above average intelligence woman. He talked about the highlight reel. Okay, the highlight reel, like in a movie reel. So he had experiences. The typical young woman has experiences with some really studly guys. And you know what? He probably did some freaky things. And those go, and you know, he was probably could have been quite adventurous. Those go in her highlight reel. And she
Bro, is
remembers
that
it.
where she
Okay.
travels the world? Doesn't she have like a cock for every country? She's
Well, the highlight reel is what in the red pill would be called the one that got away.
oh,
It's the highlight reel is the highlight reels of the alphas, and there's always one
Yeah.
alpha that got away that they really wanted.
This is the alpha widow. But her highlight reel is okay. It might be predominantly about that guy. But she had some wild, very memorable experiences with other men as well. Then, as time goes on, okay, those all kind of get shuffled around and commingled into Omni Man. Omni Man is just that guy who's got it all. Uh, maybe I'm kidding here, but you know what? We've talked about the
Mr. Perfect.
diversity.
That's
Yeah, but we've also talked about the diversity of women's fantasies. And I
right.
believe that women's fantasies are oftentimes more um, varied and maybe extreme than men's fantasies.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at we've talked about this and is corn the problem, and where we talk
Yeah,
about the stuff that women look up, and Plutarch showed the statistics um on that episode, the statistics of what women view when they do look at corn, and
Women are
look
freaky
at
as fuck.
yeah.
Like they're wild.
okay, so keeping on target, went in her 20s. Yeah, she's wearing a mask, but she's also hot and young and experiencing freedom, and she's trying to present herself as the hottest, most beautiful, and she's trying to experience. So yeah, that's That's what she's trying to do. So that's the mask she's wearing. Now, as she hits 27, turns 28, what
Getting to
happens?
30. Getting to 30.
Yeah, getting
That's
close to 30.
epiphany phase. That's what we call it in the RP. She's approaching the wall, but it's epiphany phase. Uh-oh, I better consolidate.
Well, specifically, the epiphany phase is the realization that the men aren't coming around quite as much as they used to. And women are very tuned to this. They know when
Hmm.
they're not getting the interest they used to get.
Well, yeah, okay, that's true. But also, that biological clock is ticking. It's ticking louder. Ooh, okay, I want to have a baby. Well, those guys that I had fun with, man, that was fun. I don't know that they're husband material for two reasons. Because they're screw ups or irresponsible, or, they just pump and dump or have multiple girlfriends. They're not, there's really no sense of security with those guys. Plus, those guys are not settling down to wife them up. You can't get none of those hot guys that you really want are willing to marry you. Okay, well, that kind of it's difficult to have a baby if you don't have a man to plant the seed. So it's time, the epiphany. Oh, I need to do something else. I need to, oh, he's not thinking this, but he needs to put on a different mask. And knowing that these 20%, the boring guys, the engineers, the accountants, you know what? They're responsible. They're getting good jobs. Oh, they're going to make enough money to support a family. And oh, yeah, you know what? They're not wild. They'll probably be faithful. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's the kind of guy I want. But you know what? Oh, those guys don't really value the wild woman. They kind of want a pure woman. Oh, okay. Purity. I need to present myself as a pure woman to get a good, secure, reliable protector provider. So, what is she going to do at this point?
Let's put the mask on. The purity mask.
Okay, yeah. So, number one, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in college, okay, that's my past. Yeah, I had some fun in college, but she'll never really say how much fun. And she's never really going to tell you what her body count is.
Guys, just remember that girl that was damn near 80 bodies hanging off a girl in 3 years. Just she's going to lie. Just accept it and add multiples to it because that's what it is.
Well, back 20, 30 years ago, the rule of thumb they told men is whatever she says, multiply by 3.
And then add 25%. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so maybe she can hide her past, just vaguely allude to it. And maybe that works for a secular woman. But how about the Christian woman who was raised in a good family and went and experienced a lot of fun? and who maybe can't totally escape her past.
No,
What
I've
is the
come back.
solution, Nick?
She finds Jesus. As she attends church. She's a virgin.
Born again virgin, new virgin. Her old self is passed away. She's a new person in Christ. And Jesus loves her and has forgiven her for her past indiscretion. So now you, Mr. Chump, who might be the guy she marries, I mean, you cannot be more
Ooh.
judgmental than Jesus, can you?
She's a whore.
Well, it is interesting though that they have turned around and attempted to use the Bible as a bludgeon to get what they want, because that's what you're saying here, Steve, is that she comes in, she says, well, God forgave me, why can't you?
That
It,
doesn't mean it doesn't mean the dude has to wife her up.
well, no, it's like God forgave you, but he never forgets what you did. He just
Right.
doesn't count it against you in your salvation. But God's never going to say, "Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore." Like,
Okay, yeah, whatever. Now you're using all facts and reason and logic here. That doesn't enter into her mind.
She
It's
just
the
wants a
perceptions.
she needs to settle now. She needs to think about getting a guy. How dare
Yes,
you
she
bring
needs,
logic and accountability into the equation?
and you know what? He thinks, oh, I had all that fun. Okay, and it was fun. But now I want a baby. I want to raise a family. So, okay, that's my past. Now I'm going to settle down with this guy who can provide. And you know what? He's so nice to me. And he provides security, and I think it's going to work. Yes, yes. Now I've experienced that, and now I'm ready to settle down. So she presents herself as wife material, which means she's hides her crazy and her wanton and her uh sexuality, open sexuality. She probably changes the way she does her makeup, you know, tones it down. It's just more, less makeup, not done up quite as much. And, you know, yes, who is to blame for what happened to her in the past?
Hmm. Well, if the man, the nice guy's like, yeah, Jesus forgives you. It's all those bad men. And the pastor's like, yeah, it's those bad men.
Yes.
They
And
did
she
this
will
to
tell
you.
you that, you know what? I was sweet and innocent when I entered college, and it was all these men who forced themselves on me and misled me. And finally, I escaped from that evil, and now I see the light, and I see that no, no, Mr. Nice Guy, you know what? Now I recognize that I should have went for you all along, but I've finally become rational and responsible. And now I see your true value. And he goes, oh, oh, I think I found the one. I finally found the rational woman who loves me because I am so responsible and nice.
oh, well, I will say this. I think men are waking up to this just based on what I've seen on Twitter recently. I don't know that men are buying this story at the rate they used to, or at least in my generation. Lots of guys in my generation went for this story. I'm not sure
Right.
that they're buying it. And the women are screaming about it on Twitter and elsewhere. They are absolutely enraged that these men are not showing up. And I look, anytime you guys anytime you guys put on a mask about who you are, you're like expecting us to never figure out what it was that you are instead. Look, the three of us have been divorced. At some point, the mask came off because lying takes effort. Lying takes work. You have to keep the lie straight in your head. Okay? And because you cannot be, because you tell yourself, I cannot be that woman anymore. Then you say, I have to present myself as something else instead. You're not being honest with the guy you're with. You're not being honest with yourself. And that, I mean, we could get into the whole, here's all the damage that does to you personally, just through delusion and mental dissociation with reality that brings. But you cannot lie forever. And so eventually you're going to start telling, and this is to you women, you're going to start telling yourself, well, I've got the man, I've got the kids, I don't need to lie anymore. I can but I don't like this guy. And I think Steve's probably going to go here sometime later in the show. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but ladies, the lies will be discovered at some point. You cannot stop it. So if you get into a relationship under this trad wife, born again virgin, purity bullshit, you are setting yourself up for failure.
Yes. Remember, you know this, women, you're listening. For those 3 women who are listening to us, I'll tell you why you know it's not working right now. Because you have fear, you're unlovable if you saw the real you. You feel, therefore, that love you are receiving is a fake love. It's not satisfying because it's all based on lies. The lies of the mask. So Plutarch talked about the masks. Okay, we have the born again virgin. We've seen, okay, that's a catch all. Yes, it's evangelical based. And no, it's not quite the same thing among Catholic women, because Catholics don't use that born again language as the determinant of salvation. Yeah, okay. We're not going to get into that. Yes, there is a born again of water and spirit. So, okay, we're not getting into that. But that's the language that's used in the evangelical side. Once you're born again, it wipes out your sins. The Catholic side, once you come back to your faith. Okay, that's the general statement. And yeah, okay, you go to confession. Okay, well, that's not as common as it used to be. And then Catholics started practicing this goofy thing called general absolution, which is not allowed except if you're on an airplane that's going down and you're all going to die. If there's a priest on there, he can stand up, he can wave his hand, sprinkle some holy water, give everybody general absolution. Or if you're on a battleship going in to war or whatever, yeah, the priests often give general absolution, but it's reserved for those moments. If you have the ability to go to confession, you're supposed to. But who says that these women, when they go to confession, they say everything? They totally confess it. Who says that? I don't know. So, and then, okay, what is it on the the Reformed. How would you characterize these women in the Reformed, Nick?
Oh, huh. Jesus forgives me, and it's that spiral. Do you know you must know better than Jesus? You're not a real man if you can't forgive me like Jesus and accept me like Jesus accepts me.
Right, because they
I
don't
mean, yeah, there's
typically
the born
use
again virgin, but we would probably say that's kind of bull crap. We're more headier than that, you know.
you
We don't.
you don't use
Yeah.
that specific terminology,
Well, we use born again, but that's
but not
more kind
as
of like Baptistic-y, non-denominational Pentecostal type stuff.
right. It
Yeah.
has a different usage. Not that you're
Right.
refuting it, not that the Catholics are refuting it, but it's not, it's just used differently. There's different excuses. So, okay, they do that. Then another thing, we are seeing an explosion in this. The trad wife.
Yeah.
I am calling this a mask
They can be.
because these women, I don't know their past, and I'm not judging their past or saying
Right.
that they had a past, but they have this idea of what the traditional wife is. So they're wearing dresses and they cook a lot, and but they're always done up in makeup, and they have this 50s life, persona. It's it's LARPing, live action role play. It's a LARP. It's almost like cosplay. Purity cosplay. So I think that's a mask. And now the woman prays more and talks more about God. And uh, she's before he didn't really think about purity. Now he believes or feels that she practices and values purity. Another mask he wears, the law of supply and demand, right? Oh, what if she's that pearl of great price?
Well, because now she's a trad wife.
Well,
And
yeah.
she's
Well,
practicing
what
purity.
if she's not a trad wife? What if
Uh,
she's just a normal Christian? She came back to her faith. And in her past, she could have been very promiscuous, had a lot of sex. But now she raises her price. Says, "Well, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm I'm not having sex until we're married, or I'm not doing those things. Or, okay, now that we're getting married, okay, for 6 months prior to the marriage, we have to be celibate. Uh, okay, she has raised her price. This sucker, this nice guy, now has to pay through
more.
commitment and provision and marriage to get what she gave away free.
Yeah.
So this guy that she supposedly loves now has to pay a price for what she gave away free in the past.
Now,
That's
if
a
she
mask.
that is a mess, but if a woman generally but there's all the nawalts. If she's actually sincere, okay, I get it. But chances are, in my understanding, most of them, it's just she's worth more now, and usually she still won't wait if it's an
No,
alpha guy, if it's an
but
alpha
if
guy,
she,
but she'll make the betas wait, the beta providers.
yeah, you see, if it is really simple logic here, she's actually using logic. If she raises her price and he's willing to pay her price, he's actually worth that higher price.
Well, I think
Okay.
Shu is onto something here because he's saying all these women think they're owed something. And if your price, if your value goes up, would you not be deserving of more stuff? Would you not be deserving of better stuff? I think the two are intrinsically linked here, and I think that's like she's saying that, well, because I am now this born again or second, I'm going to say secondhand virgin. Uh, because I now practice trad wife behaviors, because these are the things that I now understand to be more valuable in the life space that I'm looking to occupy. Right. I want to be a mom and have kids and all that. Then she's saying, well, because my value for these things is higher, therefore I'm owed more.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right. So again, she hides her past because, that's her old self, not her new self. Nah, you know what? I don't. Secular society, all the psychologists say, well, maybe it's not good to reveal all that stuff about past relationships and, you know, those ugly details. You don't have to do that. So she doesn't. And that suits her fine. So now I want to talk about the Madonna whore dichotomy.
Okay.
And how that relates to this. So let me bring up the wiki page. Okay. I guess that works. Okay, now this, I guess, was coined by Sigmund Freud. Uh, so I'll read this. Madonna horror complex. I'm calling it a dichotomy. Uh, is the inability to maintain sexual arousal within a committed and loving relationship. First identified by Sigmund Freud, who called it a psychic impotence. It's a psychological complex that is said to develop in men who see women as either saintly Madonnas or debased whores. Men with this complex desire a sexual partner who has been degraded, the whore, while they cannot desire the respected partner, Madonna. Where such men love, they have no desire. And where they desire, they cannot love. Okay, well, that's the part I wanted to read. Now, okay, this is phrased as men, and it's a complex. It's a fault of men to look at a woman either as a Madonna or a whore. Well, the reason I call it a dichotomy is I think
So
both
it should
of
be.
these aspects exist in every woman. Yes, she's made in the image and likeness of God. Okay, the Madonna, that's a Blessed Virgin Mary, uh, the most pure woman who's ever lived. Uh, yeah, I mean, we should emulate her because she said yes. She gave her fiat. Yes, I'll let it be done unto me. She followed God. Yes, she's a great model. And yes, all of us have that aspect of God in us because we're in the image and likeness of God. That doesn't make us gods. But there's that mark on us. So yeah, she has that. He also has those wanton desires, that sexual appetite, the sexual desire, and in our modern, especially in the U.S., we have this puritanical background or culture. It's kind of warped Puritanism. Sex bad, nudity bad, prayer God good.
It's a false
So
dichotomy.
it's false. Yes.
Yeah,
Sex was created by God and it's a good thing.
right.
So, for lack of a better term, I'm just going to use this and say, yes, she has aspects of the Madonna, the pure in the image of God. And she also has maybe a voracious sexual appetite, which I'm going to just go with and label that the whore. That doesn't mean
Having a strong sexual
my
appetite's not wrong. It's not necessarily
right.
sinful. It's how you use it. That's
So, this dichotomy causes a woman wearing the mask in the marriage mind to deny the horror aspect of herself. Because now she's pretending to be the pure woman who's going to have a baby with this man and settle down for the boring, stable protector provider. Oh, her wanton sexual days are in the past. Now it's time to move on to this new phase of life. I think here is the problem. A modern marriage, how long does it typically last?
7 years.
They say 7 years, Okay, is it 7? Is it 10? Well, maybe they were dating for 3 years before they got married. It's
Okay.
in that range. Okay, what happens during these 7 to 10 years?
You have a few kids.
Yeah, 1 or 2, whereas Nick, 7.
I was fruitful and multiplying. So,
And then, okay, she achieved her objective. The man, the protector provider, had 2 kids. And now, you know what?
but she's not
She's not
satisfied.
she's not happy.
No, of course not. He
You
doesn't
know
love the
what?
real her.
Because he's boring.
Oh,
She thinks back to that highlight reel. Oh man, that was wow, blew my socks off. You know what? I don't have tingles for my husband. You know, maybe I never really did love him. What is the solution at this point? He just has to do this.
well, she can't. If she's a Christian, it's going to get worse for the guy. If she's going out, if she's going to finding out, it's going to get bad for the guy. Chances are.
Well, she could find an excuse.
Well, she has
Maybe
to
he's
find an
not
excuse
being
so she's not
nice.
shamed.
He can go to
Right.
the church and then, oh, he needs to be more of a servant leader to you. And he doesn't do that. Maybe she gets difficult and he raises his voice. Ooh, he's an abusive man. Or she can go back and reinterpret any past event and accuse him of actual abuse or
Yep.
even some pedo stuff. Hey, it happens
They do that.
all the time. All the time. Okay, so why is she doing this? Because she just needs to go
Get
on a
out.
journey
Find
to
herself.
find herself.
Oh, hey,
So-
there's a
No,
song. She's gonna get Dick Down in Dallas.
Oh,
It's something in Boston and Austin and something else.
oh, you know what the one in Boston is? Boo Food in Boston.
so Steve, I looked it up. According to the U.S. Census
Oh.
Bureau, it's the average marriage is 8 years. So that means that if you assume a 2-year sort of dating, engagement period, the average relationship is 10 years. So if the average woman starts that process at 28, you know, when she gets to this period that you're talking about now where she needs to go find herself, she's 38 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And how many women, divorced women, first divorce, are in their
Late
32
30s.
to 40? They're in that window. I mean, they're a dime a dozen out there.
Guys, just stay away. That
So,
Don't go
okay.
there.
So, why? Why does it only last? Why does this phase only last 10 years? Because that is the length of time on average that a woman can maintain the mask of purity. And it just, at that point, the burden
Honestly,
of
kinda
wearing
makes
that
sense.
mask is too heavy. You got to take off the mask, go on a journey to find yourself.
Steve, I'm going to push back on you here a little bit based on what I've seen and in my own and other relationships. The mask of purity actually tends to slip a little bit. It tends to slip much earlier, but they don't. And that's where the striking out at the man comes from. So, like, when she starts to say, well, you're just not this, whatever. So, uh, what's the example I'm thinking of? I hate being sick. So when she starts accusing the guy of not giving her the tingles anymore, that's actually that mask slipping. She's letting you know that there's more going on here, and that's when the chore play rat and the go to the priest starts. They're not going to give it up. It's not going to be like 10 years of being great and then they just wake up one day and decide to do it. I actually think the mask slips a lot sooner, and they're trying to tell these guys that they need to dick them down, and but they're using feelings. They're speaking emotionally, and the guys frankly aren't getting it. That's
I'll
what's
agree
really
with you there.
happening.
Yeah, because that's what I experienced. Remember, we're throwing out a new concept of the mask, and we're trying to explain what's going on, and we're kind of developing, sharing notes here. This is what's always happened in the manosphere to figure things out. We share notes, and each of us refine things, and yeah, okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. So great. So, Shutai, I don't see much humility from the former hose, in my opinion. Lack of immediate social disincentives, definitely part of the problem in her pride.
Shu, I would
Yes.
say this is a newer phenomenon, particularly driven by social media. That would be so. Uh, and this was kind of what I was trying to get at, and I think Shu actually did a better job. What I was saying, but these women don't actually care as much about their beauty anymore. Walking around, the whole baggy clothes and ripped shirts and whatnot. They're actually trying to make themselves ugly and kind of wear these things. They're wearing their whore status. I mean, ripped clothes and those are actually things that whores wear. This is very disheveled clothing.
But Shutai is getting to the other aspect.
Mhm.
Not all women put on this purity mask. Not all. Some women, those former whores, what they might do is they continue that behavior and and tell the world about it, and then expect the world to applaud them and celebrate their degeneracy. So then maybe they can be loved and find the right man who will celebrate their lifestyle, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first husband, you know what? He was the starter husband. You know what? She knows he knows better now. And you know what? There are all kinds of men out there who really she had the tingles with because she knew them back in her 20s. Now, you know what? She knows better. She needs to go find one of these dude bros, these finance guys who have a jet and they got the hot body instead of he's got the dad body. And you know what? They They still got it. And they can go out and find one of these guys. Okay, so he was an hors d'oeuvre. Another way of we say that in the Midwest is horse divorce. Wait, horse divorce? Wow. Yeah, the starter husband was an hors d'oeuvre. Horse divorce. He was boring. Now she's going to go find the real man.
So, Steve, is this where this whole mentality of real men take care of other men's kids comes from? Is that what you're signaling here?
I don't know. I just pulled the term up there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they think that.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know. What is a real man? It's not a term men use, so
it's whatever they want it to be.
It's Omni-Man. Omni-Man is the real man.
Okay. Until he doesn't affirm them.
Yeah, Steve, I'm not disagreeing with you here. But these women are out to lunch because they think that they're going to go back to the same guys who in their early 20s they were fucking around with, and they think that these guys are somehow going to be different. Now, they are different. These men usually in their late 30s, early 40s have something that they didn't have in their 20s. Typically, not always. They have money
and status.
Yeah, status. And so it's now I can go back. Remember, at this point, ladies, you're 38 and your beauty is basically done unless you are gifted with unusual genetics. Okay. And but
your fertility is toast.
Yeah, your fertility is definitely toast. Okay. And you think that you're going to go and get that guy who banged you out but didn't pick you in your 20s, and somehow 15 years later, he's going to pick you up when he's still banging chicks in their 20s.
But you know what? You're trying to use logic on me. I read in a magazine that it happened. I read in a magazine that a woman had a baby at 50 years old. I know that man exists somewhere. I can go to the delusion calculator and it says there is the man that I want has a 0.13 chance, which means he exists. So I'm going to find him because I'm a child of God and God wants the best for me. So statistics don't matter. He exists.
Hey, with God, all things are possible, right?
Just not very probable. God is not he's not a magic genie that has to grant you your 3 wishes.
I'll be back in a minute.
Sorry, we're running off the rails here. So Steve's got to excuse me.
I'm doing that evangeli math,
Yeah.
With God, all things are possible. So therefore, he owes it to me. He's going to give it to me. You just have to have that positivity. It'll happen. You gotta name it and claim it, baby.
Nick, have a little faith, man. Just have a little faith. God will deliver what you want.
Oh,
Sorry,
oh
ladies,
man.
there aren't enough
Just like,
men to go around. Ooh, this is a good comment from Shu.
here we go.
If she wants a 0.31% ban, she needs to be 2025 Anna Kournikova.
Oh, 2005. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
2005. Yeah. Dude, you are not wrong.
I'm still in high school. She was on like the Sports Illustrated, wasn't she?
I believe so.
This was before I was a Christian, guys.
Well, this was also
Oh,
actually, I should go look up a picture of her now just so that we can show guys what
oh,
it looks
man.
like 20 years later.
So we'll move on with my narrative that we're exposing. So, okay, now it's the rationalization phase. Okay, we already kind of touched on it. Yeah, he doesn't give her the tingles. Yeah, you know what? He yelled at her once. Oh, yeah. Okay, there could be some physical back and forth between them. Women at this stage will often initiate some pushing, some scratching, and she's been nagging her husband. And every man has his breaking point. And a lot of men do push back. Well, okay, now she's got him. She can do whatever she wants to you. Nobody cares. You do one thing to her, you are a bad man. You are abusive. Okay, so she is going to try and push you to that breaking point. And then this is all a rationalization. Okay, and then she's also thinking she's entitled to better. Remember, we talked about this delusion? She's entitled to a better man than you. And then
good luck.
And you know what? It's not her fault. It's all his fault. Women do not
Man
accept.
bad.
They're not accountable. They don't want accountability. They will actually project their issues onto the man. They will accuse him of the thing that she's thinking that, well, maybe unconsciously. So yeah, that's
Projection.
She's going to do that.
Yeah.
Projection.
Yeah.
Hey, MS, I want to answer this question, and listen to what Steve just said. Okay, he was just talking about what these women are going to do to you, and the more promiscuous they're past, the more likely they are to play this game. So, should good, decent men not marry promiscuous women turned to God at all? Yes, they should not marry these women at all. If they want to turn themselves over and give themselves to God, that's great. A woman who does this and basically if she wants to become like a nun or something and never okay, fine. That's perfectly fine. You
Okay,
owe
here's the
them nothing.
problem. There's a problem with that.
Okay.
By historical standards, all or the vast majority, 95% of young or unmarried women are promiscuous. Okay, so what is the man to do? Okay, so I'm going to provide a caveat to this. Yeah, you shouldn't marry a promiscuous woman, but to a matter of degree, what's your body count? You're gonna have to figure that out. But do not marry a dishonest woman. And we're gonna get into my suggestions at the end. And it's honesty. You need to know so you can make an informed decision.
And they lie about that.
Well,
too.
right, but see, this is the problem. Like we all we have to assume, like Steve, you said earlier, oh yeah, just multiply their body count times 3. And then I said, yeah, add 25% for good measure. So if we are telling men straight up
Oh man.
that these women are lying through their teeth, and okay, let's say that we say biologically a woman with a body count under 10 still has a shot at pair bonding. Well, then what you're really saying is she has to have a publicly stated body count of 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. And see that this is the problem that I think men get into. So it's a lot easier for guys to say, no, I'm out. Like, I don't disagree with this concept of honesty, but we just got done stating that women are not going to be honest with you on this.
Okay, well, here's where we're disagreeing. The word marriage. My current belief is marriage does not exist any longer. Now, let me say what I mean. Modern legal marriage is not marriage. It's not
No.
traditional marriage.
It's
So
not.
I can be pro marriage. Yes, I believe men and women should marry, but absolutely do not get legally married. And almost all modern marriage is not marriage because it takes authority from the man, actually gives it to the woman. So in modern marriage, the woman has all the authority to keep the kids, to keep the assets, and traditionally that authority was solely with the man. Therefore, marriage no longer exists, in a traditional sense. So, yeah, no legal marriage. So
Well,
we're gonna
okay,
have
but
to.
you kind of just said don't get married, because most churches these days require some sort of legalized marriage. I don't.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
right.
so I guess at the practical end of the day, we've arrived at no, don't get married. Like, yeah,
Or have a solid prenup.
yeah. I mean, if you absolutely
Yeah,
must
they're
get
thrown
married,
out all the time.
eh,
You still cannot trust the state to to at all in your marriage. You
right?
cannot.
And
You
so
can barely trust the church. You really can't trust the church either,
No, I know that.
unfortunately. But you
I know that
cannot
for
ever
sure.
trust the state.
Uh,
So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, yeah, that's our conclusion. But we do need to kind of flesh out some of these issues. So I like it when we have a little bit of redefining and pushback, because this is a discussion. Every
that's how
man's going to have to make up
complicated
his own
and
mind.
that's how complicated and fucked up the world is right now.
ugh, yes.
So I'm going through rationalizations.
Uh,
Okay, I went through and her rationalization. She's entitled to better. She's projecting her faults on him. Okay, false allegations. Oh man, it's like a get out of jail card. It's financially beneficial to her. Society will then, oh, you poor thing, she's a victim. And oh man, she gets to keep all her church standing. And because
yep.
now she's the pure one and he's the bad one. And you know what? He gets tossed out of the church. He loses everything in the church. But no, she is, oh, yeah, we have to care for the widows and orphans because of the bad man. And okay, so all along, this rationalization is developing a narrative. Okay, and we are exposing that narrative here. The narrative of there's a reason that she's actually justified in doing what she's doing, and it's all a rationalization. In other words, it's all bullshit. Okay, we're in the home stretch, boys.
Oh man.
Okay, now these are my ideas for a man's solution. Okay, remember, we've established, a modern legal marriage is not a good idea, but you still want a woman. Okay, maybe that'll happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe you're just decide, nah, no, I don't need that. But a lot of men are not going to make that decision. They're not going to give up on women. So,
So not all are going to be MGTOWs, huh?
unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, no. I don't know.
I'm not a MGTOW. But
Realistically, no.
men going their own way. Yeah. I understand. I can sympathize. I'm just not there. So,
No, it's only going to be a small percentage that are ever actually willing to give up women, because frankly, we have something called hormones that were built into us. And most guys, I mean, in the red pill space, we talk about these issues, we debate them as we have here tonight. We are such a small percentage of the space. I mean, I know Twitter gets all upset about our existence, but the percentage of guys who are willing to think like this is going to be less than 1% of the population of guys in the US and across
Yeah.
the world. It's most guys are completely
So,
unaware.
Prenups really are not the answer, guys. I used to think they were, but no, they're commonly thrown out because if it disadvantages the woman and she cries about it, or if it was done in another state, or if she didn't have an attorney and you had a joint attorney developing it, or if she just changes her mind, or if something happened that she never thought about, you know what? They can just throw it out. Or if the judge just doesn't like you, or it's a female judge and just doesn't want to see the
well,
outcome prescribed in the prenup, they'll just throw them out.
there are some legal protections depending on the state. I think James Sexton talks about also. RP Thor has some stuff he's talked about how to do it, and
It's an improvement, but it's not a guarantee. That's my perception. Now I'm not an attorney.
yeah.
Go talk to a divorce attorney in your state. Find out if it has meaning, and if you move to a different state, if it will have meaning there. So what should a man do? Well, first of all, you need to know about the mask. You need to know about the things we discussed here, the mask he wears. And to a greater or lesser extent, all women are wearing a mask. Because let's face it, all men are also wearing a mask.
Women are wearing makeup pretty much, anyways.
Right. And then the one thing we haven't talked about here is a big driver is IPA guilt, infidelity, promiscuity. Well, we did talk about promiscuity and abortion. Oh man, he's going to hide that abortion she had from the stud in her fun days. And that's, now she wants babies. But this is bad. There's a lot of guilt. And that day that she gives birth to your joint child, you going to think back to that baby she aborted?
Oh yeah.
Is she ever going to tell you about it? No. Is she feeling guilt about that? Yes. Eventually, is this guilt going to be projected onto you and she'll find an excuse where you are a danger to the children? Just remember, she killed her child. That is going to haunt her for the rest of her life. There is deep guilt. And we've talked about her promiscuous past. Now she wants to be pure. And then infidelity. Yeah, Plutarch mentioned when the mask starts to come off towards the end of her marriage. Yeah, infidelity happens. And my belief is it happens. Women might be more unfaithful in these types of marriages than men. Men is usually too busy working. Unless he's
he doesn't know it's over.
right.
Usually she's 6 months ahead of him in that. Well, I've heard that she's
Yep.
like 6 months ahead of him in that process.
So, okay, so you have to have knowledge. The next thing, God, all you guys need to understand this, that a man's facts will not change a woman's feelings.
True.
I don't care what kind of facts you have, what kind you present to her. If she's in her feels, or even if she's not, she believes something based on her feelings. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if her chance of finding a better man after divorcing you is 0.03%. She's still going to do it. Those facts aren't going to change what I know I'm entitled to. Remember, she's going on a journey to find herself. If she looks hard enough, maybe she'll be able to find her butt with both hands.
I do want to interject and state that yes, we wander, we come in and we state all these facts. We're not stating them for the women. We're stating them for you men, so that when she comes to you complaining about how she just can't find the guy she's looking for and why don't they all wife him up, we're not saying throw these facts in their face. We're saying, look, guys, this is why she's saying that. Just nod your head and let the broken be broken. You can't fix this.
So if you have a chance, remember, these are my solutions. If you want a chance for a long-term relationship with this woman, because that's what I want. I don't want to go out there and have a lot of different women, hookups, whatever. No, I just want a companion, one woman that I can learn well, love one woman. She can support me. I'll support her, in different ways, whatever. Okay. The only way, love is important. The only way real love is going to exist is if you are totally honest about your past and she's totally honest about her past. Now, is this going to happen? Probably not. But it's still a goal. And what else do you have to be honest about? Secrets. Yep. And here's a scary one. You have to share those fantasies. Because you can learn a lot about a person by knowing about what they fantasize about. In addition, those fantasies are not going to go away. And if they're not somewhat fulfilling some of those desires, which show up as fantasies, but desires, it's not that perfect relationship. So you want to get your desires fulfilled and met. You want to be truly loved. And therefore, you're going to have to be honest and you're going to have to talk about some scary stuff. And this involves risk of them walking away, which would be, rationally, the best thing that could happen. Because then they're not the right person for you, or you're not the right one for them. Okay, no more pretending. Okay, dodged a bullet with that one. Okay,
Yeah,
the
don't
next thing
tolerate.
is do not tolerate bullshit and lies. You catch her in a lie. Oh yeah, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I just want to have a peaceful night. No, you're gonna have to call her out on it. And remember, this is advice for men. Women, you can come up with your own advice. This is advice for men. You got to call her on her bullshit. Don't let her get away with it. Because you know what? If you do, it's going to get worse. And you need to lead her. That means there's a hierarchy in the relationship. Yes, there's a hierarchy in marriage, of course, but in a relationship, a long term relationship, even a short term relationship, you're going to have to be the man, which means you're in charge. You're going to lead her. You make the decisions. You can absolutely get her counsel and consult with her. But no input. Yeah, okay. Now we're getting kind of, well, I didn't have my input into that decision. Not her decision to make. It's yours. Get this through your head. You have to lead. Now, something we touched on before.
Complementary's bullcrap.
Good. Remember the Madonna whore dichotomy? Yes. You can love her. You should love her for that good person made in the image and likeness of God. You know, that pure woman. Yes. Also need to love and accept that sexually wild, desirous woman. You got to love the horse side. And you know what? That's going back to the fantasies, the desires. You got to do some of those because, hey, she did them in the past. If you don't do them, she's going to be thinking about that. And then the next thing is when you know what her past is and what her highlight reel is, if she did something with other guys in her past, you need to know. So you have the opportunity to overwrite her highlight reel. You need the option. Okay, you know what? Reality is, I'm 61 years old. I can't perform the same as a stud who is in his 20s. But I got more creativity, maybe. At least I need to know. So, I mean, this is a psychological thing. You don't want her thinking back to another man who did it better than you. At least you need the opportunity to share those experiences. Now, if you lead her in this, in understanding her desires and fantasies, and actually, you know, I'm not talking about doing all kinds of sinful things, but practice those and allow her to be that whore in your bedroom for you. She's going to feel loved in a new way. She's going to want to do those things. You probably don't have to be that perform as well as that stud who's 20 years younger than you, because it's a psychological thing. You make love to a woman, it's as much up here as it is bodily. So, next thing, don't be the nice guy. No covert contracts. And go read Dr. Robert Glover's book. Think about this. There's all kinds of interviews from Dr. Robert Glover. Yeah. Look into this. Look into yourself. Think about this.
Don't do
And
things and then expect them to do something in return that you have not expressed. That's a covert contract.
Yes. So I have two more. Be dominant. His Thor wrote a whole book on that. Dominant masculine presence. There's some good stuff in that book. When you're dominant, you are in control of yourself. Yourself, okay, another way. I mean, this is obvious when you're not the nice guy and you're a dominant man, but I'm going to say it. You are not seeking her approval. That's not what determines your self-worth. Okay, her approval is nice, but that's not what determines your quality. And a thing that men, probably Christian men, get more wrong than anything else, or it's up there, is making your wife your mission. Oh, yeah, the servant leader model. Yeah, your life centers around being a servant. Yeah, big servant, little leader to your wife, and being that provider and working hard and providing for your family, and kind of letting her call the shots, because after all, she will tell you that she's more spiritual than you. This is all just total bullcrap. Your mission, the man's mission, must absolutely be his mission. His mission is not his wife. He starts out on life. His life is an adventure. He needs to live his adventure. And you know what? Great if he can find a woman to accompany him on his adventure. You do not accompany a woman on her adventure. Hell no. It's my adventure. You can come with me, or you're free to go. So I just rattled through okay, that's the end of my list. Now, what do you guys have to say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, she's not going to be honest with you about her fantasies ever. And the reason I say that is because the only person that she is going to want to be honest with her fantasies about is the alpha guys who blew out her back as a young person, and now she's trying to claim she's not that person. So yeah, we can say that she needs to be totally honest, but I view that as directly antithetical to what she's trying to tell you she is. So she's never actually going to do that.
Yeah, well, there's a solution to that. You know that if she's not telling, if you do some research on women's fantasies, she has none of those. And she's all namby-pamby pure. She's not being honest. So then okay, she's wearing a mask. Therefore, yeah, okay, all these other things are going to come into play. Yeah, you know what? Maybe she's not the woman for you. Or maybe she's for recreational use only. Or maybe, okay, I'll keep her around, but I'm not going to commit full body, mind, and soul under these circumstances. You're going to, you know what? You have to make up your mind. But as Plutarch says, yeah, okay, this is maybe my prescription is in a perfect world. And yeah, maybe some men can draw more out, or maybe you'll find one woman who's willing to go further, but not all women. And he's right about that.
Yeah, it's just something that I was thinking about listening to this. It's like, because we as men, we look around and we see men who are able to just naturally do this with women. right? They lead, they don't have a problem with that. They can definitely reset her highlight reel. They're not the nice guy, they're the dominant guy. They have a mission, right? And
And
I think we need to, particularly one of the hard parts of the red pill is accepting that at least 80% of guys are never going to be that. And so for them, this is kind of why I was saying earlier, like, no, marriage is just never an option. And it's not because it's because you you're never going to be that guy. And I'm not saying that that's bad that you're not that guy. Look, from a biological standpoint, not everyone can be an alpha. The system, the biological system doesn't survive if everyone is an alpha. But you, as an educated beta, have to accept that there are going to be certain things that just because of who you are, she is never going to tell you about. And you might say, "Oh, well, I'll draw them out." It's like, well, okay, you're not, but you're not. Not a bad
You
thing.
might. You might be able to do it, but as Plutarch says, probably not. For my entire life, I was not that guy. Am I that guy now? I don't know. I'm closer to being that guy. I think maybe I can go. I definitely can go further, draw
Yeah.
more of that out than I did in the past. I've learned a lot. But yeah, Plutarch's right. Most men are not going to do as much thinking and have experienced enough things and observed enough things and connected all the dots that I did in the mask. They're not even recognizing the mask. If a guy doesn't recognize the mask, he's not that guy.
Right. So this is all very good, and I like seeing all
Mhm.
this, but I kind of read this and say this is all great education for the alphas in the room, you know. But
Okay. Yeah.
if you're not an alpha, I'm sorry. Like, I could teach most guys to recognize the mask through some sort of logical worksheet, right? Okay, work these steps and you'll be able to figure it out. But is that going to turn them into a dominant guy? No, because they're not wired that way. They're just not those guys. And I think this is why throughout history we see that 40% of men never have kids, even if they thought they had kids. They're raising some other dude's kids and they didn't know it. And I think this is part
You
of
know
what's
what?
driving that.
I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I said that once before, and man, did I get into trouble. No, here's what I think you're wrong about. You say maybe you can convince most men of the mask. No. You know why?
There we go. Here we go.
You know why?
The
Because
descriptors
the
are the problem.
descriptors are the problem.
Yes, I
You walked
agree.
into that.
I totally agree with you. But I was trying to give my fellow men the benefit of the doubt here. Like, come on, surely there's some sort of worksheet I can give you that logically draws you through it. No,
No, they think women are sugar spice and everything nice, and there's nothing you can do to
yeah.
convince them otherwise. You can give them facts. You can give them, but they just like, oh, I don't know.
The
I don't
maybe
know.
I put in front of it was carrying a lot of weight there, wasn't it?
See, what I've done here today is I've shown, I've talked a lot about what I think the real nature of women is. That they wear a mask, and there's this Madonna whore complex dichotomy. Men don't want to believe that she's not genuine. They just don't want to believe that. And no, I found a good woman. She's not a whore. Okay, well, guess you have a different view of the nature of women that I do. And I've arrived at this after all, I'm soon to be 62 next week or two. Okay, so yeah, I see women differently now than I did when I was a younger man. And yes, I'm saying it's possible to love a woman theoretically, because I don't right now. But theoretically, it's possible, even knowing what I know about the nature of women. But most men are not going to get there. Or maybe they will get there, but it's going to be down the road a ways.
Well, you knowing the nature of women, you can still love them, but it's going to feel very different than all of the Tinglies and Hallmark movies that you guys have grown up on. And to be fair, I do believe that the media has gone out of its way to convince men that women are sugar and spice and everything nice, and that I'm not so convinced that, like my grandparents' generation was as convinced of some of this stuff, maybe to their benefit. That they didn't, like my granddad, maybe he didn't quite take my grandma quite so seriously, and but even then, I still think 80% of men they can't be this guy, and that's why, and the three of us have talked about this offline, but one of the things that we've kind of agreed on is that for men like that, you kind of have to give them a script and tell them to run with it. Of just, here's what you do. And so while we can sit here and basically try to salvage marriage, it's a lot easier to just come in and say, no, don't bother with it. You're not that guy.
So what you're saying here is what I presented here is an extreme solution. Maybe workable if you're that guy, but
Yeah.
it's extreme. In your grandfather, he didn't need all this to have a successful marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, or long-term relationship. Maybe you need this now. And maybe without this, you know what? You just should withhold that wholehearted commitment, which is really a sad thing to say. That's
Can't you
very
just get
sad.
one? Can't you just get one from overseas?
One of these days, we are going to have to do a show on that.
No, okay.
Do I have things to say on that topic? And maybe we'll even have to maybe we'll have to do it on Elena's channel or something so that she can pipe up with what she knows.
Yeah.
But it's no. The short answer, guys, is no.
Oh, okay. This brings up something that's said in the manosphere or the red pill. And one of you guys got to finish this statement. He's not yours. It's
just your turn.
Your turn.
Okay. Well, if you think through the mask and what happens and the stages of your life and all that, and unfortunately that's kind of reality for a lot of men and a lot of women.
Yeah. And I say this as
the truth isn't happy. The truth is not about your feelings.
Right. And I say this as the only I'm sitting here as the only married guy in the room telling guys not to get married. And I even have to caveat, yes, I'm married, and yes, I'm married through the state. Why? Well, because Elaine is a decent woman, and in order to get her into the US, I had to do that. We actually discussed early on. I said, look, if it wasn't for that, we probably wouldn't be. It'd probably just be the two of us doing the old church marriages, or maybe not even that. I don't know. But, it would have been very different if not for that one fact, Steve talking about getting one from overseas, there are different rules you have to follow. But for the average dude out there who's probably not going to be able to afford to leave the country, whichever country you're in, honestly, guys, I would say assume you're not that guy until proven otherwise. And you don't decide if you're that guy, other guys do.
Yeah, and you know what? Those women in other parts of the world, they're still women.
Yeah.
Their nature is no different. Their upbringing might be better.
Yeah.
Their experience, they might be more traditional. But they're still women. Their nature is still the same. And if you bring them to the U.S., they will absorb the culture here, become they will evolve to become more like an American woman, which you wanted to avoid.
Well, I'll just, as a little bit of a teaser. Yeah, so a lot of guys will say, okay, well, then I'll just stay in her country. Right. Because you know that country's legal system so much better than she does, and she's absolutely not going to beat you to death with it.
Oh man.
So that's not an answer either. There's lots of horror stories about guys going to other countries and getting absolutely cleaned out by a girl who knows her country's legal system better than you do. So
They absolutely will side with their own.
oh yeah,
You will always be a foreigner.
yes. I mean, that's what I say. If you guys are looking for a silver bullet answer in any of this,
Good luck.
none exist.
So, you know what? I think it's been a good stream. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Given people a lot to think about, probably exposed them to some new ideas of this mask. Hopefully, anybody who watches this has a little bit more insight, couple things clicked. You know, if that's the case, I've done my job.
I enjoyed it, guys.
Or if you disagree with me, great. Now you maybe have you refined your disagreements. Okay, well that's a good thing too.
We'd love somebody to come on and disagree with us. We will even if you're willing, we'll pull you up and we can have a live debate.
Okay. Well, guys, what we else got going on this week? I think Wednesday I'm doing something on kind of continuing the talk on effeminacy, but we're also including men and women on it. We're talking about long hair. Is there a spectrum of attraction on hair? Is there a moral aspect? And we'll cover that.
Sounds like fun.
Well, so guys, please like and subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity. We'll be back here Wednesday at 7:45 Central. Anything else, guys?
Nope, that's it.
That's it from me. I've been coughing up a storm over here.
All right, guys. So see y'all next time. Thanks for joining in.